Hi, I'm Peter Ilgenfritz, and I'm the interim pastor at the Congregational Church of Boothbay Harbor. And this is our midweek word of encouragement in these times. And I am delighted today to introduce you to my friend Peter Bruun, who I met during my first weekend here. And Peter and I got talking, and what spun out of some conversations with us and with some others was a new project that I am excited to introduce you all to. It's been something really encouraging to me. So, Peter, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. I've only been in the area for about a year, and I have a background as an artist, as a writer, as somebody who uses art to bring people together around issues and ideas. And these days, people aren't coming together because of COVID-19.
Right.
So have needed to think about how else to build community through art and writing.
And so, how to build community out of art and writing.
Yeah.
And what's come together out of this is this online free magazine?
Correct. Magazine is one way of describing it. It's something between a personal chronicle and a magazine.
Huh.
And what that means, it's called Yarrow and Cleat. Yarrow is an herb, which is a symbol for healing or a wish for wellness from one to another. And cleat is a wooden or a metal thing that you might tie a rope to for stability, for strength, for holding on. So the idea of healing and holding. And how this emerged is in the disorientation of COVID-19 and the kind of fear and trembling that rippled through communities around the world from that, and through our conversations on the urge to do something in light of this. It was really our conversation that got my wheels turning on how I could corral my background experience as an organizer, as a writer, as an artist into this venture that is something like a magazine, something like a chronicle being a collection of stories. In this case, I'm the primary author of it, that comes out once a week, that shares stories from the Boothbay region of resilience and hope.
And I think one of the things that really struck me about how you speak of resilience and hope is you do it in a beautiful way.
Thank you.
Every week you share something of a piece of art, but how the whole piece comes together is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about why beauty is important?
Oh, it's critical because I strongly believe that beauty, meaning, and joy exists on the other side of pain, hardship, and challenge. That through that you discover beauty, joy, and meaning are larger than those things. And so landing on a sense of eloquence, a sense of serenity, a sense of beauty is absolutely critical to the vibe of Yarrow and Cleat because of that faith in everything being okay in the face of all of this. And that itself is beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that. I'm really struck by how these times are really changing us, and I've spoken here in this midweek time sometimes about our lives either in this time could get really smaller or could get bigger. And I see like in this project with you, you're using this challenging time to make something bigger, make life bigger, connections bigger. Could you talk just how it's changed you?
This is a bit of a survival. And what I mean by that is having faith in everything being okay depends on that being true. And the only way it can be true is if you pursue what you're working on until you land on that, okay? So in a sense, the largeness that you're asking me about is more for me about arriving at that concluding line, at a drawing that might seem hard but actually has an uplift to it. It's a reinvigoration of a kind of faith in the okayness, in the challenge of this disorientation. I was really disoriented for about 2 weeks, and I had trouble sleeping. It was a relapse of the most profound grief I've ever experienced, and this has been an affirmation of everything okay, and an affirmation of meaning and faith.
So, Peter, tell me more about your faith that everything's going to be okay.
Everything is okay. It's not that everything will be okay. Everything is okay.
How? Tell me more.
So the next issue that's coming out, which is this Saturday, every Saturday you can subscribe to this by going to the website, yarrowandcleat.org. I send out an email to those who have subscribed every Saturday to let them know there's a new issue. The issue coming up, I just wrote this last night. Yesterday, I learned of someone I care about who died. Okay? That was hard. So yesterday, I wrote the reflection. And I wrote until I arrived at the last line, which is serenity rises like the breaking day. Okay? And again, it's a matter of probing for that deeper truth. In this case, I actually leaned on a famous person from this area, Rachel Carson, and The Edge of the Sea, and the way she writes about life on the seashore, and the infinitude and the resilience of life on the seashore became the cleat, the anchor, for me to hold on to in this story, where I open with the line, mist falls, I forget the exact line, mist falls, I've lost someone I care about. So it starts off on that hard note, and then it travels through the edge of the sea and lands on serenity rises. That's I can't remember your question, but that's the healing work for me, and in work that heals myself, I hope to have an offering to others that is healing for others.
Well, and I must just say that, I mean, just being involved in supporting,
which you are, it's been wonderful,
has just been so healing for me, because as I wrote to friends yesterday, just sharing your latest newsletter, I said, for me, I mean, in this time, it's been such an encouragement for me to have community, gathering of community, the sharing of stories, the discovering of beauty, and the noticing that everything is okay.
Everything is okay. And when I talk to somebody and share their story, my goal is to become invisible and allow their essence and their story and their okayness to shine through.
Thanks for. So, Peter, what are the features in Yarrow and Cleat?
There are basically 5 different kinds of stories that show up every week. First, there's a reflection, which is the most personal statement in the entire issue from me, literally my reflections that week in that moment. Then there are neighbor tales. There's either a video version or a written version or both. And this is when I talk with somebody from the Boothbay region about their experiences, their reflections, their feelings, the way they cope in these days, and that becomes a tale. Then there's something called perspective, and perspective is a way to kind of draw the lens back on our own experience, and the way I've been doing that is focusing on the natural world, looking for metaphors in the natural world. Spring peepers in the mud all winter long, now rising as a chorus, for example. Then there's something I call corner table, which is a guest writer to share his or her own experiences and what they're doing today and what is helping them get through this challenging time. Then I have Art Spot, and Art Spot is a work of art that is showcased with a spotlight on the artist and what their work is now as well. There's a sixth section, which is not quite like the others in that it is a gratitude section specifically for individuals, organizations, businesses that are supporting Yarrow and Cleat. And I can't do this by myself, and I rely on that support, and that's an opportunity for me to convey my gratitude. Those are the sections that you can expect every week.
And so how do we get involved?
The best way to get involved is to go to the Get Involved page on the website, and from there you can email me and you can subscribe to Yarrow and Cleat. If you subscribe, you'll get an email notification every time there's a new issue. As far as emailing me, what I'm interested in are ideas for stories, people with something to share, people who maybe want to do the corner table, people who have ideas for Art Spot, people who could be subject of a neighbor tale. I also just want to know what you think, because I'm looking to build community, and I trust that Yarrow and Cleat is an offering of a simulated community online, but I also want to personally connect with those who might be receiving it. Now, Peter, I talk about Yarrow and Cleat as building community, and it strikes me that with the church, you're involved in community building. You work within the context of a sacred space, and I work in the context of a secular space. I would argue my space is a spiritual space as well, but what we share is this building of community, this holding of community. And so I just want to thank you for doing that and for inviting me to share my efforts with community.
Well, I just think it is so powerful in this time that people are coming together in some profound and beautiful ways in response to this crisis. And thanks for the inspiration that you give me, you give us in what you're doing and how you're responding to, as you said, broaden and build a deeper and a wider community.
That's what we're here for.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.